The spoiler including My Little Pony the movie 2017.
Oh yeah.
So, before we start, I guess, what's your general feel about the movie?
The animation style is a lot smoother because they weren't using Flash. It has a very Disney feel to the movie. I mean, it just felt way more Disney than the My Little Ponies usually does.
And I think we'll come back to that Disney sort of feel quite a bit in this.
And as my mom likes to point out, it had Bunga. It had a character that looked like Bunga from Lion Guard in it.
No idea who that is, so...
Which I'm pretty sure Grubber is a honey badger.
Anyway, so it had its moments for being a standalone where it couldn't use some of the lore that's been built up, some of the stuff, because it wouldn't have made it wouldn't have been able to carry itself as a standalone movie, because you'd had to have seen the series for it to make sense. They needed everything to be self-contained in the movie so that it could be a movie in and unto itself.
Yeah,
without alienating parents who were just like, "What is this?"
Like my mom, who actually went and watched the movie with us.
Like, what is this? What are you doing? It was okay for taking that into account. It makes it more, because again, the animation is quite good. It is one of the great things about this movie is its animation is absolutely gorgeous.
It is, but at the same time, it like right after having watched the episode, it's really different.
Yeah, but it's one of those changes where the difference is not a bad one. You know, it's sometimes when you get an adaptation from, when you do the upscaling the animation, they mess with it too much.
It kind of feels like the difference between the classic TMNT and the 2007. You know, it's not that drastic of a difference, but at the same time, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, it's very noticeable, but the spirit of the animation is still there. The characters
are still recognizable,
they're very recognizable. You don't. It's not even. It doesn't even take you a second to get used to. Well, to understand. Oh, that's what Pinkie Pie looks like. Well, she looks like Pinkie Pie, just smoother.
Kind of gives it a little more dimension to it.
Yeah. The way, yeah. It works, and the sort of, with this sort of animation, there are some weird things that don't look quite right with the depth sometimes, the way they do it, and this one hides it pretty well. There are some moments where you go, okay, that looks a little weird, but for the most part, they really took their time to make sure
the background. Like, the ponies themselves look pretty decent, but I think they went a little overboard on some of the backgrounds. Like, when they went over the waterfall, especially, like, my brain just snapped. It's like, no. Somebody just drove a house across the street. Like, literally, a house. Not a mobile home. A house. Okay.
What was Big Mac pulling it?
I don't know.
That would have been funny.
It was a car pulling it.
But, so, one thing they did, I think, now kind of starting into the movie proper, um, they spend a few minutes at the beginning setting up the characters so that you get to know the characters by what they do.
Setting the scene and everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
Pinkie
if you-
Pie makes a Discord balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like
And the Discord balloon goes after Fluttershy.
even in balloon form. But yeah, I mean, each one lets you have sort of a window into the sort of character they are. You know, you get Twilight already having a freak out, you know, a couple minutes in. She's already
And
having
that freaky smile.
yeah. You don't need to combine that with the way people will run away.
Yeah.
Twilight, please
Just
take your
remember one
pills.
important thing. Smile? No, don't do that. Don't ever do that.
Please
I'm
take
sorry.
your pills, Twilight. Please.
When she did that, my first thought was the 10th Doctor. He was like, "Don't do that. Don't ever do that."
But apparently the festival that she's trying to set up is a friendship festival. I guess you have the summer sun celebration, so for Celestia, and then you've got
Nightmare Night.
for Luna, and Cadence kind of has some. I think there's some sort of holiday with them. The Crystal Fair, I guess they'd have another Crystal Fair at some point, and that would be kind of her thing. Like, we all have something. Let's give Twilight something.
I think the festival wasn't like some annual thing. It was more of a she wants to get to know the people type thing.
Well, it could have expanded into that, though. I mean, it's like, yes, we're going to have a festival celebrating friendship since we now have a Princess of Friendship. And so we get introduced to like the main chunk of sort of Twilight's personality with this. It's a little odd for her to ask the princesses for what she did for the angle of the sun and the moon, but it's very Twilight to plan that far.
Yeah.
That's a very Twilight thing to do. Get a little overexcited and overplan and this many degrees off of this and this many degrees off of that, and being very, very super precise about everything, very detailed. You know, that's Twilight.
The sun and the moon.
Yeah.
For one song.
Yeah. So
And
it's
she's probably thinking, why the hell did I give you back your powers?
Right.
But yeah. So yeah, it would be interesting if they turned that into sort of her version of Sun Celebration or Nightmare Night, where it's just like that's an annual thing that you get a friendship festival for Twilight. So character establishment. Dash clearing the sky and gulping cider from AJ in the blink of an eye. Shows how hasty she can be by decorating the stage, but not in a fabulous way. Yeah, which I thought that was really, really funny. While Applejack's like pouring a bit of cider, sets it up there to continue thinking about what she was thinking about and kind of talking it out.
And then my mom's favorite line from the movie: "You were raised in a barn."
Yeah, it's like I spent most of my formative years. Yeah, I wasn't raised in a barn. I just
raised in a barn. I was just born in one, and my family has one. And maybe.
Yeah, it was very.
You were raised in a barn.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, let's see what the exact thing is.
And I knew you'd love that because it's your AJ.
Yeah. Let's see, where was it? Control F. See if I can find it in the transcript. I love this. Is just, it's very much if you were raised in a barn, and no offense, Applejack, none taken, especially since I wasn't raised in a barn. My family just happens to have a barn where I was born and spent most of my formative years.
Oh,
You're raised in a
hey.
barn. It's like that sudden realization when you realize you, in fact, were raised in a barn.
So let's see. So putting like a timeline on this movie, I'd have to say it's definitely before Starlight.
No, because Starlight shows up on a couple occasions.
Oh,
Yeah.
In
Doesn't
the
have a speed.
yeah, in the we got this. Like I think
Yeah.
she shows up as she's with Trixie doing something.
Yeah, Trixie had the
She had fireworks and
fireworks. Yeah.
and Starlight was doing something else.
Oh.
And at the end, she shows up again with in the credits with like a cake or something. I don't remember exactly what all she was doing, but she was there. She does make an appearance, so it is post Starlight. So I don't know, exactly where it fits into the timeline. Basically, since there's not really. Given how long this thing took to kind of spin up, I think it's probably written with kind of a timeless era, except for it's post Starlight, sometime post Starlight. That's all we know. Because beyond that, there's nothing really to say, oh, this is definitely after this episode, or after that episode, or after that season. It just post Starlight information. It's there sometime.
It's a standalone. It gives the fans the fan service, but at the same time, it doesn't overdo it for the people who aren't familiar with them.
Which the whole song of
anybody who wasn't a huge Pony fan would have just missed Starlight or Trixie or any of them or Derpy.
Yeah. Why is that? Why was it that? It's not that pony was. Anybody could understand why. Oh, that pony got hit instead, but the fan will go, oh, Derpy got hit instead. Poor unlucky Muffin Mare.
Muffin.
Yeah, but the whole "We Got This" song is basically. Here's fan service shoved down your throat. Remember this, remember that, remember that. We get freaking Cheese Sandwich showing up.
I know,
helping Pinky.
Funny.
We get the whole Apple Clan is there. We get, Sassy Saddles and Miss Pamel. You get Starlight and Trixie. You get
Jubilee. I think I saw.
What?
I think I saw Cherry Jubilee in it.
Wouldn't surprise me. I don't remember her being there, but again, there was a lot of stuff going on at the time.
Yeah. It was hard to. Well, I've seen it more than once.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all the things that were there.
Exactly, so many of them.
Yeah, and Fluttershy brought her animals up, and you had, which all the stuff during the "We Got This" song must have been kind of confusing for non fans. Were like, why is all this important? Who is that big red horse? Why is he important? Why did he get a line?
Why did he just sit up and that's it?
Yeah, but like, there's this random big gigantic red horse that just says "E up."
Yep.
What is?
Well, his name is Big Mac.
Yeah. You kind of you get this sort of, you could probably piece together. Oh wait, he's probably Applejack's kin. We don't know. They wouldn't know exactly for certain where what he was, but that he was somehow the way it was going around. But yeah, we definitely get an introduction. It's a very quick. Here's a cool song of sort of building up Twilight and saying, we're friends and we have friends, and that was another big thing I think that let's see, what was I gonna say? Oh, God, lost my train of thought. But so I thought I'd written something down. So we already covered that. Oh, one thing that I didn't kind of cover in the character establishment already, but in Fluttershy's Bird Orchestra, which makes sense if you know the show, Angel Bunny is dressed as a bird.
Yeah.
And of course, Applejack being the ever pragmatic one, sort of introducing her sort of down to earth, if you forgive the pun, sort of ways. She's like, you're doing a good job. It's very nice, Rarity, but you're not gonna finish in time if you do that. It's like a 3 tiers. There's like
Although I do think it was a good teamwork there with Rarity, Rainbow Dash just shoving them all up, and then she's just fixing them. Gets done a lot faster.
Well, it's like 3 tiers. It's like you have Rarity, which is she's going really slow, but it's perfect. It's absolutely flawless. Rainbow Dash, incredibly fast, but yeah. And Applejack's just like, maybe you should speed up just a little bit because you're not going to finish in time. And so it's like, she's like the middle ground between, like, Dash is super hasty, Rarity takes forever, and Applejack's like, let's just get this stuff down. Just the middle ground. Again, I love the she realizes raisins barn. So Pinky does her Philly Vanilli style freak out.
Oh yeah.
That's
I love
an
that.
Interesting callback.
Nobody's ever. No, it's so much pressure. Nobody can handle.
Yeah.
Good thing you have us.
Yeah. It almost goes Philly Vanilli, but it's not quite there. It's just not quite there. So then we get the villains arriving on a Zeppelin. Tempest is a heck of a name for an agent of the Storm King. We even get Grubber, or if that's his name. He
Grubber
comes out with
name. He is totally a honey badger.
With a transforming megaphone complete with sound effect.
Yep.
It's like they have to find a way to stick that into all the movies that make theaters. They have to find a way to shove the Transformers sound effect in there somewhere. Just because we're Hasbro, it's our property, we can do what we want. Let's see.
The emblem of the Storm King looks like the Monster energy drink.
A little bit.
Kind of does, yeah.
It's missing the.
Every time I look at that, I think Monster energy drink.
Isn't it missing sort of the middle stripe? But
yeah, it's just missing that middle piece.
Yeah, it's like somebody took an eraser down the middle of a Monster Energy brand. So they bring out an army and use green orbs to encase the princess in stasis crystal, except for Twilight, who seems to have gotten away thanks to Dash, but Derpy wasn't so lucky. Yeah.
It's Alicorn Derpy.
Yes, she even has the little
fake horn,
little party hat that's like a horn. So it's like, yep, that's she's kind of an alicorn, which is funny that the party hat didn't get turned to crystal as well. But yeah, so yeah, again, the water is animated beautifully as they run away.
So why do the bad guys always give, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, if they're just going to do it the hard way anyway?
Well, if they gave up and let them do it the easy way, then they wouldn't have to do it the hard way.
Right,
But
but come on.
the heroes never pick take it the easy way. And they're always, no, we're going to fight back. And so they're always having to do it the hard way because they don't have much of an option because the heroes wouldn't just give up.
Gotta
If they gave
say,
up,
that
that
was
would be
some
the end of the
party,
movie.
though. Gotta say, that was some party, though. Princesses all got stoned.
Which, that's always it's always a bit annoying that that's basically what they have to do with every time there's a major threat like that. They have to basically nerf the royal sisters. They have to wharf the royal sisters, otherwise the story
Mhm.
just ends too quickly because they're too powerful. You have to
Yeah.
every time something comes up. Why is Celestia and Luna not handling this? They're incredibly powerful. They either have to
Yeah.
make the situation so dangerous where not even they're powerful enough to deal with it, or they have to
Their
nerf
power
them
gets
so that
sucked away.
they can't do anything about it. Because if they can, they finish the thing is resolved quickly because you have four Alicborn just going, no, we're like walking weapons. Usually not, but if you mess with us, we're freaking walking weapons.
I'm kind of surprised there was like a joke. So, Celestia, is this another one of your villains from 1,000 years ago?
Though, considering the last episode we just, the episode that was on at around the same time, she was really upset that she couldn't go over the waterfall with her mom, and so now she did. Just without.
She didn't get to do that, so fair enough. Once Upon a Zeppelin, if you're not watching this, right when it comes out. So Celestia tells Luna to go seek out the Queen of the Hippos. Apparently, the hippo, and she just stops there because she's turned into crystal for aid, and they're to the south of the Badlands. In order to show just how evil the Storm King's goons are, not only do they harness the ponies and enslave them, cage them up, they cut the string on some balloons.
Mm-hmm.
The monsters.
And each of the balloons are colored after the main six and Spike. There's one for each of them.
So Tempest goes to the throne room, uses some sort of bottled spell potion.
It's a cell phone.
Sorry, bad spell surface.
Yeah.
So, well, it's
I swear, the
understandable
Storm-
because he apparently still uses dial-up.
The Storm King makes me think of Mel Brooks.
You know what he
Just-
I'm going to go ahead and talk about this because I think this is a fine time to talk about him. I see a less charismatic sort of
Discord?
Hades from
Hades?
from Disney's Hercules, and Grubber is
Never watched
kind
that one.
of, I think Pain was the one that was sort of rotund.
I never watched Hercules,
Yeah,
the Disney version.
It's I think it was James Woods does Hades, and I could be wrong. Let me look that up. But it's if you love the Herculean myth, you like actual sticking to mythology, it's horrible. Like
Yeah,
it goes
Well, it's Disney.
way off.
It's Disney. What do you expect?
Yeah, it
They
goes.
butcher mythology.
Yeah, well, they have to, because if you really want to do the Hercules myth, there's some stuff that goes down that's just you can't do that
Yeah.
in a kids film.
I was more into the Kevin Sorbo one.
But anyway, yeah, it reminded me of the sort of the James Woods Hades to a certain extent, but less charismatic. It's that same sort of feel.
He made me think of what's his name? President Scroob
Who?
from Spaceballs.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
You
a
know,
little bit.
that kind of incompetent, thinks he's powerful. You really shouldn't give him that kind of power.
Yep. Which is generally any time Mel Brooks plays an authority figure in one of his films.
That's why I just wrote down, he makes me think of Mel Brooks.
So we find out they have a stick. The staff of Sakanas will channel the magic of the four rulers of the land. Which makes me wonder, when was this forged? Because
1,000 years ago.
yeah,
But
see,
there weren't four
there
Alicorn leaders then.
were only two,
Mm-hmm.
and then there were one, and then there were two. Then there were two again because there was Cadence. Then there were three because Luna came back, and then Twilight became an Alicorn. So it's only been four for maybe a year or so.
Well, maybe it was like a weapon made before it had the power source.
But how would you
Or-
know to
We made a
channel
powerful
four?
weapon. We just have to wait for 4 Alicorns to be born.
Or it was either repurposed or she designed it herself.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's very
it.
much possible they were forged. It was forged post Twilight, perhaps even post Tirek. They learned from Tirek and realized, oh wait, there are four. We should really
And
take that
wait,
into
we
account.
can channel this shit and we can become superpowers. Awesome. Let's steal all their powers. And then Tempest, it's like, you know, or whoever designed it came up with, oh, I can channel this into, you know, I can use the magic to channel it to be elemental. And I'm thinking Tempest because she's just like, I want my horn back. So maybe if I smooth up to this guy, he'll give it to me.
Well, and see, that's where the Storm King makes some of those, big sort of, the the warnings you're given in like the, evil overlord tips, that old thing. It's a text document, and it's just like, I will not, all of my guards will wear translucent face masks so that I will not be surprised by, the heroes will not be able to hide behind, this, and this is, if I must use this, I will do this, just to sort of prevent yourself from falling into these traps. And he's like, he is not paying any attention. He's consuming energy fields larger than his head, and he's abandoning his loyal lieutenant, who has been basically doing everything he wants from her.
And doing everything for him.
Yeah. And so
Like,
instead of going,
she's
you know what?
definitely not going to help defeat you now.
You were very helpful to me. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to use this staff to make my first action with this staff to restore your horn. Boom. Loyalty. And you immediately reward her and show her, hey,
yeah,
I've got loyalty back. You had my back. You did this. I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah, and now you're not going to try to defeat me.
You make her comfortable because she's loyal. You
he
keep her
wasn't
loyal.
Really that intelligent though.
Oh yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He was falling into the trap.
Yeah. Also, I think for somebody who purported, you shouldn't trust anybody, you shouldn't rely on friendship, she was pretty trusting for a supervillain. To a supervillain.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I can't wait to voice him.
Yeah. You would that is totally your kind of character.
Yeah, it's very much in the vein of the Tumblr King Sombra sort of character.
I know, isn't it?
And that was absolutely perfect for you.
Also, when they were at the bottom of the waterfall, they made a hungry hippos joke.
Yeah. So at this point, so they head off to the south through the Badlands towards what lies beyond, and they make it through this desert and found a city.
Kind of like Rarity's main in that desert. It's a good look for her.
And it seems to be a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Twilight wants to keep a low profile, but Pinky doesn't
Pinkie
really know
Pie's
the
big
meaning of the
side.
term and draws attention to.
That town is Ferengi.
Yeah, it reminded me of Mos Eisley to a certain extent. It's like you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Anyway, they're cornered, and we get Capper shows up. He helps them to escape by convincing the crowd that they have a contagious disease. And Capper, the cat, sings a song suspiciously extolling his virtues as a helpful friend. And I'm like, yeah,
And
me think the lady doth protest too much. And you are going to backstab them, aren't you?
And in the song, if you notice, he was causing a lot of those problems himself, like talking about the dark corners, and he intentionally blocked out the light. You know, he caused most of the problems to occur just so he can defend them.
But yeah, it was very much, I got friends on the other side, sort of. It's like, yeah, no, this guy very suspicious.
It was a very Disney-like song, that one too.
Yeah, it's like, no, run away from this character as fast as you possibly can, because
do what the police do and make him your friend. Although by the time you make him your friend, he'll already have stabbed you in the back.
Yeah.
You'd be regretting it.
So they arrive at his place.
So many Unbreakables. That sounds like. I swear it sounds like my nephew.
So.
Are you sure you're not looking for the Queen of the Lions or tigers or bears? Oh my.
Yeah. So Bernard's place, Rarity mends his coat as a thanks. He sews that up. Oh, I would totally, do you up a very much nicer coat and hat if I had materials with me. But for now, I'll just mend it up, which she doesn't expect anything in return, and that's one of those moments. It's what I'm going to call a big moment. And like 3 characters have them. I got it recorded at the top, but this is one of those moments where this wins over somebody that was not necessarily starts to win them over that wasn't necessarily going to be on their side. He starts to feel guilty. He starts to, hey, these are actually not.
Guilt trip.
Yeah, it's like so. Though through rummaging through Capper's files, Twilight finds out she's looking for the hippogriffs on Mount Eris. Instead of hippos. Though the Queen of the Hippos does show up to the party, because we see that in the credits.
Yep.
And they're quite, what would Pinky say? They're actually quite graceful for their size. But they
very hungry.
And then you get the hungry hippos thing. So his hesitancy to let them go comes from a need to pay off a debt. And he tries to sell them to a literal mole named Verko. Tempest arrives, but is distracted by Verko's interest in her as a product long enough for the girls to flee Capper's house. Now, one thing I do find interesting, though, is that you mentioned like they're Ferengi, well, to an extent, but Ferengis never had slavery, from what I remember hearing on DS9. That was one of their big things. Was we didn't never own slaves. So, not quite Ferengi, but it is very sort of anarcho-capitalist in that way. So they stow away on an airship. because Tempest arrives but is distracted by Verko's interest in her as a product long enough for the girls to flee Capra's house on the blades of a windmill.
On a runaway windmill.
Yes. So they stow away on an airship.
I think I'm going to be sick.
They stow away on an airship, Binky nearly dying because, you know.
And per her usual baby dinosaur, again.
Yeah. Let's do that again. Yeah, no. Remembering Verity's generosity, Capra lies to Tempest about where they're going. She drags him along as assurance that he didn't lie. So
and what should do with the stowaways? Tie them up, clip their wings, scar them emotionally. So one of each. and then Zoe Saldana.
So on the boat, six are found out, and the rulebook says to them, but the bird crew treat them to lunch.
They really take their mealtime seriously.
Well, they're following the rules to the letter, and that's when their lunchtime is. So they don't have time to kick them overboard because they have to eat lunch, and then they can deal with them.
I hope they at least get an hour lunch. Damn.
So turns out they're delivery birds who used to be swashbuckling treasure hunters before the Storm King came to before the Storm King came to power. So
get Zoe Saldana singing squee.
So Dash encourages them to be awesome again and not follow cloven-hooved Storm King. Is that mild racism in the pony world? In this world, you know, it's like he's cloven-hooved. You know, is that a mild racism sort of thing?
I guess.
So they sing a song about going back to being awesome and put on their old gear as well as letting the kind of colorful ship decoration show. And Dash's excitement gets the better of her, and she rain booms, which just says, "Here we are," to Tempest.
Premature rain booming can be very bad.
And it's probably...
Yeah, I'm sure everybody was getting a little too into that song. I mean, Spike was just spanking those drums, and that one dude was using his head, so...
Yeah.
It's probably why they made such a big deal about talking about Dash's hastiness. It's like, we need to set that up so that when we see this, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's just her being hasty. That's just part of who she is.
And you know, they literally only mention, you know, did the rain boom once in the series, I think, maybe twice. And besides that, they barely even mentioned it. And now they've mentioned it at least 3 times, you know, twice, and actually did it within the span of like 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, we got. I think we've got 3 rain booms. We got the rain boom when she's young, her first rain boom. Yeah. Then we get the rain boom when she's at the Young Flyers competition. And once at the royal wedding.
Oh yeah, the royal wedding.
So we've had it happen 3 times that I remember. There's probably another. There might be another one that I'm forgetting, but those are the ones I remember off the top of my head.
In 7 seasons, and I think they've mentioned it maybe 5-6 times. They don't bring it up very often.
She did kind of an atomic rain boom on Applejack's barn, so I don't know if that counts though. The rain boom exposes Capra's deception, and Tempest swings the ship around. She boards, and Twilight escapes with everyone in a makeshift hot air balloon. And one of the funny bits is, while she's trying to assemble the hot air balloon in midair, she like plucks, instead of letting Rainbow Dash fly off, she just like grabs Rainbow Dash with her magic. Annoyed, and she's got this really annoyed face on her, and just sticks her in the box. Like, no, you don't fly.
I actually
go in the
have
box.
That written. You're skipping so much of what I have written, but I have Rainbow Dash looks so annoyed she was carried.
Yeah.
And Spike, the built-in flamethrower. That hot air balloon, MacGyver would be proud.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just yeah. If you have some notes, I'm just going down my notes so that just jump in if I'm starting to go past you.
Also, the bird, that dense-looking, the really dumb bird, reminds me of Ed the hyena from Lion King.
Yeah, there's probably a good bit of influence in that sort of character.
Probably the same voice actor.
I doubt it.
Also, I can see why he's called Grubber.
Yeah, food all the time.
It's like, that's a work of art.
So let's see. So
and love his lisp. Oh, that is intense.
So they make it to Mount Eris to find no hippogriffs. So following a sound, they head underground where they hear singing, startling the singer, who flees. They
kind of makes me wonder though, how many times did Rainbow Dash say we're almost there?
Yeah. And you Twilight, you seriously, you couldn't have landed it at the top of Mount Eris.
Right? You had to crash it before they even got there.
You had this thing assembled. Just hold it together long enough for us to get to the top, so we don't have to waste 20 minutes, waste an hour climbing the dang thing.
And only in cartoons can a 50-year-old blonde white woman be the daughter of a 36-year-old black woman.
Anyway, so they follow the water. They follow into the water and get sucked down.
I hate epic adventures.
Yes. They're a nightmare. They're a nightmare on the hair, darling.
Okay, so admit it. You guys were waiting for them to start singing the Shooby-Doo song.
What?
I wanted to hear the Shooby-Doo.
What song?
Call upon the sea ponies. Shooby-Doo, shoop-shoopy-doo.
It's like, I think, like in Generation 1.
Yeah, I think it's a Gen 1 thing where the sea ponies help them out, and then they all sing together this shooby-doo, shoop-shoopy-doo sort of thing. I can't hit the notes because it's way too freaking high for me.
Well, Skystar probably could have sang it.
I was so waiting for it.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was, so I wasn't. But I bet Princess Skystar is popular. That's a wicked joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Okay. Anyway, so
play Wicked.
So
she did the one of her most popular songs is called Popular.
All right. Okay. So Skystar rescues them from drowning, and at the mention of hippogriffs and the Storm King, takes them to see Queen Novo.
Is that another shell? Because I swear, if it's another shell.
It's like, oh, what was... It's like when they're playing It's like playing I Spy, in the middle of the ocean. It's like, I spy something blue. The sky? No. The ocean? How'd you guess? It's like,
And then oh, it's an awesome story. Let me tell you. Don't tell them. Okay, so this is what happened. Didn't I just say not to tell them?
Well, if I were to tell you, I would tell you this and this.
But I wouldn't do that.
But I'm just the queen. Fine, don't listen to me.
Yeah. So it turns out they used the pearl to transform themselves. It's sort of a
To
pearl.
flee?
It's a thingy. Anyway. So
I think they did call it the pearl.
yeah. So they transformed the Six and Spike to sea ponies and a pufferfish.
We
To
didn't
quote
flee.
Yogurt.
Yeah, no, in order to flee.
To quote Yogurt, merchandising.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, that's,
I mean, that-
I said I'll come back to that in a bit. And this is merchandising. This is where we come back to Spaceballs.
I mean, the Spike pufferfish toy is gonna sell like hotcakes.
It'll probably be a bath like squeaky toy that you can just
Yeah.
fill with water and then squirt.
Although I would have laughed if he turned into a flounder.
I would have. I was thinking he would, but I feel so sorry for Spike. He always gets the raw deal when Transfiguration is concerned. Gets turned into a dog. Gets turned into a pufferfish. Turned into like all these like pets basically.
Yeah, he tends to roll natural ones with these sorts of transfiguration spells.
Yeah. Seahorse. He was a freaking pufferfish.
So, Twilight literally calls upon the sea ponies when they're in distress, but the pearl is to stay there. They have to go, but Twilight sends Pinkie off to cheer up Skystar while they have a few minutes. To which we have her little song, but,
And her tripping them beforehand with the no, I understand. You need to go. Just leave me alone. I'm totally fine. No, I'm fine.
So Twilight is caught trying to steal the pearl, and they're expelled from the sea ponies.
She went really, really dark in this one.
So
It's like Twilight. Of course, they're gonna have a security system.
Derp.
So yeah, Pinkie calls her out on her trick, and Twilight blows up at her under all the stress. Debatable the whole this in her character, but she was pretty desperate.
Yeah.
And under a lot of pressure. I mean, this is T-Rex invasion sort of.
5 minutes though. Seriously, 5 minutes later, and they would have given her the freaking pearl.
Yeah. Although I would like to point out, yay for the first queen/king character that's not evil.
Yes.
Yes, first non-evil.
First good queen.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're a full monarch, and you're not evil. Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's different. We don't do that usually. If they're a king or a queen, they're usually evil.
Yeah.
Chrysalis,
Sombra.
Anyway, so
Pinkie dries off like a dog.
Of course. So this caused the cast to split to cool off. Meanwhile,
Pinkie's eyes are even cuter than Twi's puppy eyes.
Yeah.
Speaking of eyes, while I'm thinking about it, Tempest eyes, if you look at them, like you look at the main 6 eyes, and they're all super sparkly. And if you look at her eyes, they're green and they're just sort of plain.
Dull.
Yeah. So Tempest catches Twi and captures her. And we get her villain song, "Open Up Your Eyes,"
which is another very Disney sounding song.
She went into an Ursa cave looking for a lost ball and was attacked. It broke her horn and scarred her eye. The broken horn was uncontrollable by young Tempest, and she scared her friends away with it. This led her to run away from the village. What is with Equestrian Foal successfully running away from home? Cheese Sandwich ran off too. I mean,
seriously,
This shouldn't be this easy for them to get away. There should be,
They've never heard of an Amber Alert, apparently.
Nope.
So, because of this, Tempest basically learned to fly solo since her friends got scared of her.
Well, you can't trust anybody because the two friends she ever had decided to dump her for someone else when they, when she couldn't blew up the ball.
Maybe Tempest and Starlight should have talked.
Yeah, I think the addition of Starlight would have ended this a little too quickly. It's like, no. I've been there. I've been there. I was the villain. I remember this stuff. I dealt with this stuff. This isn't gonna end well for you.
I love the fact that this in the song it's like "Grow up, little one," and Twilight sounds so much more mature with the "Friendship didn't fail me. I failed friendship."
Yeah, well, that's kind of what they wanted. I guess they wanted to go with is she's supposed to be the master of this and this, but not the master. Anyway, so Capper shows up out of.
How far away did they get that they had an entire musical number while they're sitting there, and Spike only just then got to them?
I'm thinking that the timing was probably overlapping a bit. Anyway, so Capper shows up out of nowhere, along with the bird pirates.
Yay,
It's like don't get too excited, guys. He's just talking about us.
Yeah, AJ did a good job there, but to kind of bring it down a little bit. But this is a slight irritation. How did Capper find them? How did the bird pirates find them?
Capper and the bird pirates were in the same boat because the boat exploded, was sunk, and they ended up on the shore, probably nearby them because they were exiled from the sea by Eris, which, hold on, Jack, shh. They were exiled by the sea and same coastline.
Well,
Sorry, I had a kid jumping on me to try to catch my cat.
But yeah, it's just like, okay, now you suddenly showed up about the same time at just the right moment. But I suppose if they did,
they could have been walking the beach a while, or they could have heard them and come that way.
Yeah, I don't know, but it seems kind of. Oh yeah, well that's convenient. Everybody showed up.
Well, they were all together, if you remember, because Capper was left on the ship with.
He was on Tempest's ship.
No,
Did
Tempest and Capper both boarded. He was on the deck with Grubber and Tempest and her people. And I don't see her taking him back aboard when she has no use left of him.
Yeah, then it becomes to...
And they all...
How did you survive? Yeah, I guess maybe the ship kept some buoyancy for a while and just slowly sunk, and so
they fell into the thing. I mean, they survived a waterfall. The other guys survived a waterfall, so anyway. Falling into the ocean from high up, as long as they landed right.
Well, remember, most of them are birds. They can probably fly.
True that. And Capper
didn't have much of a wing, though.
No.
But then again, to be fair, the Pegasi don't have much wings compared to their size.
True. And as far as Capper, well, cats always land on their feet.
Yeah, even in water. That poor kitty.
Anyway, so the much, the more obvious, Skystar just pops out of the water because she was right there, and takes on her terrestrial form to join them.
That's it, right? We didn't make friends with any pony else.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, in
it's
each
a
of
giant
them,
crowd of
and each of them
creatures.
follows a big moment by one of the main six. Like, all of their allies followed a big moment from one of the main six. Pinky's song with Skystar, Rarity sewing up Capper's coat, and Rainbow Dash singing the awesome song. That earned them allies along the way. So Tempest delivers Twilight to the Storm King in the throne room. Okay, I already talked about that. So he absorbs the magic into the staff from the Tetrarchy and starts to mess around with the newfound power.
Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Maybe she should have had him set the sun and moon for the concert.
Ignores, again, she ignores the one request he needed to keep her loyal. Which might have been part of her motivation the whole time. If restoring her horn is what she wanted, is it inconceivable to think that somewhere in there she doesn't really want to ride with the ideology of being alone she expressed in Open Up Your Eyes? She wants to be restored so she can rejoin society. They wouldn't be so scared of her broken horn.
Do you ever think that the ponies of Equestria are just used to the sun and moon going crazy?
It happens every once in a while. It's like, oh, I wonder what's going on now.
I mean, there's Discord. There's Discord. There's a time when Twilight was trying to raise the moon and sun.
Which was attached to the time that the two were captured and the sun and the moon were in the sky at the same time.
Yeah. That was kind of fun. They do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, but the thing is, it kept going up and down on the same side, so technically it's just Monday morning, Tuesday night. Sunday night, or it wasn't actually going forward or back in time more than a day.
So anyway, so the rescue team uses the oldest Trojan horse in semi-modern comedy, the Trojan cake, to sneak the birds past the guards.
Although, why did he seem so calm about who puts eyeballs in filling? He wasn't grossed out about it at all. It's like, ew, there's an eyeball in this filling. It's like, why is there an eyeball in this? Oh, well.
Maybe the Storm King's culture is a little more hardcore. A little more metal.
He's a honey badger. Honey badger don't give a damn.
Anyway, but the plan is thwarted early by the sweet-toothed little pain, swiping some frosting. So that sort of ends that whole sort of stealth thing. So during the ensuing fight, one of my favorite things, it's just Fluttershy managed to bring one of the goons to tears with kind of talking about their feelings.
Let's talk about it.
Oh.
She brings the goon to his knees with kindness and therapy. It's like, really? It's such a unique way of defeating your enemy. Not so much defeating them, but just like
she literally killed him
with
kindness.
Yeah, just
she literally killed him with kindness.
Well, he didn't die, but she pacified him with kindness. She eliminated him from the competition with some simple kindness. So at this point, the pirates hold the guards off at the square, Skystar at the stairs, and Capper uses Spike as a flamethrower, literally lighting them on fire.
My little friend.
It's like, wait, you breathe fire, don't you?
When I saw that the first time, my first thought, I've never seen the movie, but my first thought was Scarface with, say hello to my little friend.
And he's quite literally his little friend. He's small and he's a friend. So.
Exactly.
So, at this point, the Storm King is like, you know what? I'm the freaking Storm King. I'm gonna conjure up a storm. A bit too powerful a storm, and they can't break through the storm. They can't fly through the storm.
She has the creepiest expression with that. With the Rainbow Dash. I could picture the mental fingers like clicking each other.
Little tinting,
like that.
Tinting fingers.
Yeah, that tinting with the tapping
Excellent.
the fingers together. Exactly. I could totally picture that with Pinky with that moment. I'm excited. Who's excited? Oh, I've never been so excited, except for when I was. Oh wait, wrong line, but it's the same line.
So, Tempest asks again for him to restore her horn. He refuses and starts firing at her. So I have a loyal lieutenant who's been nothing but loyal to me the entire time. I mean, there was that bit of I want to show him what I'm capable of, and that little thing. But her actions have been nothing but loyal. So,
like, well, I'm evil. What do you expect?
I've got to fire at her. You know, it's like I got what I want. So. I don't want you messing with me. So you can't betray me if you're dead. So someone didn't read their evil overlord tips. She nearly gets pulled into the storm, but Twilight saves her. Which, yeah.
She did.
Twilight has read the evil overlord tips and uses them for good and says, I will be, I'm not sure there's one specifically about this sort of thing, but he messed up. He just broke a rule. I'm going to help you out and show you the way. Since you never really wanted to go this way anyway. You just were, you just had the problem of, this sort of thing going on. So, in accordance with the storm raging, Pinky sets up the super party cannon from earlier that she crafted with cheese and fires them through the storm and into the Storm King, knocking the staff from his hand. The staff goes haywire and fires indiscriminately.
And then the fight for the staff.
Yeah.
The staff is his, but it's her magic, so technically she should get it.
So the six form a pony chain and manage to get a hold of the scepter, but Twine and the Storm King are blown out into the storm.
And then she comes back looking so majestic.
Yes.
And kind of silly with her hooves crossed like that. She looks majestic in the silhouette. And then when she comes back, it's just silly looking.
I kind of wanted to see the epic chase of what happened in the storm.
There really wasn't one, though. She just, she already had it, basically, when she got sucked in. So she just did the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd been funny to, see a cow flying by. Moo.
Oh. Poor Bessie.
Or more, instead of moo, it's like, well, I say. Or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
It's like, please move it, darling.
So yes, there's a little tension while Twilight is out of sight.
Or her holding the staff when she comes back. By the power of Storm King, I have the power.
So she descends from on high, quelling the storm and the fears of her friends, but also Tempest, who was actually also a little bit scared for her.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, she's like, well, she's trying to be my friend, even though I'm a jerk. I've been a jerk. Anyway, so.
And then the predictable sacrifice by the former baddie to save the good guys when she realized she was wrong and friendship really is magic.
Yes.
I believe she did that. I can. Because she actually knows how those hero tropes go.
Yeah, he's just trying to use that. He's trying to use one of those capture orbs on Twilight. Tempest blocks it, taking blow herself. The orb hits him too, and they are both crystallized. He falls to the ground and shatters. Well, Tempest is saved from the same fate, which this makes it the second time they've actually unalived a major villain.
Yeah, a show for kids.
He did. First of all, it's a major motion picture. Second of all, they didn't show him dead. He just turned to stone and shattered.
Stone and shattered, to where he could never be put back together again and restored.
I mean, technically, they could have just glued him together and revived him. He'd just be a little sticky when he got back.
For kids.
You would just fall apart like a pile of meat.
Discord does that daily.
But yeah, she. Oh yeah, but yeah. So yeah, they unalived him. He mostly unalived himself though, so that kind of absolves them of some of it. And Twilight could only save one of them. So the unaliving is
the one who actually tried to help you.
Yeah. Let's see. So the Princesses Derpy and Tempest are restored along with the castle itself. Status quo is God.
Yeah,
So,
miraculously, the magic released fixes everything shiny and new.
Yep.
Now, if only I could get that to fix the stuff I need fixed.
Anyway, so the party's back on and the team is honored. A big stage show happens. The Hippogriffs arrive, now free from the Storm King, and tells Skystar she's grounded. Rarity makes good on his cloak and hat for Capper.
She did call it. Also, note, Songbird Serenade looks exactly like the singer who plays her. Yeah. They just totally just threw the singer in.
Yeah,
Okay, here's a name for you. Go on.
Yeah, I saw a pic. I didn't know who Sia was until this, and I saw a picture of her and I was like, oh, wait. Okay, I guess that works. It does look like her.
I've heard her work somewhere before at work, because that song she sang sounds really familiar. And even the first time I heard the song, I'm like, I know this song. Where have I heard this before?
I did like the song.
I'm not a big fan of it. It was so. It's the style of singing I hate the most. It's and she's like half of it's sort of.
You can't even understand.
You can't understand her.
Yeah, but no, it's not. I like it. I recognize it.
Oh no, I'm not saying. I was just saying a general response to the music itself. I'm not a big fan of the
I like songs I can understand the words to, which is why I don't like most modern pop music, because they use slang and ghetto terms that I can't understand.
Gooby ga 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 ga.
Or they do the same kind of thing that Sia is doing here, and kind of and you can't really there's lyrics, and if you look up the lyrics you can see what she's actually saying, but it
doesn't sound like anything.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have the lyrics sitting in front of you. I heard it a couple times, and I was like, I have no idea what she's saying about half the time. I can see the rainbow, and then and it's like, okay, and then you look at the lyrics, and it's like, okay, no, that's what she's saying, and you kind of go, okay, I
really?
guess.
Is that what she's saying?
It's like,
okay, I'm a sexy pony.
I gotta say, Tempest is not a really party pony, which I understand, because I'm the same type to ditch parties, although I think hers was more she felt the odd one out as opposed to actually being the odd one out.
Yeah, she felt guilty.
But she does.
Wait, don't forget to call her. Don't forget to call her by her real name.
Fizzlepop Berry Twist.
Pinkie Pie loves it. I can see why she changed it. Doesn't really fit her persona.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be the, the sort of vanguard of the Storm King. I am the vanguard of the Storm King. Fizzlepop Berry Twist. It's like, it doesn't really strike fear. But,
no.
But when you say, I am Commander Tempest, yeah, that's got a little more feel to it.
See.
And then the after video, Spike trying to eat Captain Solano's leg because it's made out of crystal.
Anyway,
Let's see.
So at this point, yeah.
Also, what kind of filters do these ponies use that Photo Finish use? Because 2 times in the movie alone, they took a picture at the beginning. Twilight is all like looking all derp, and all of a sudden it goes from, startled derp to sexy pose. And then there's the Ed one, the Ed version of Ed Bird, the dorky one, who goes and looks hideous, and then suddenly the photo, he's like, hey.
Yeah. Well, while everyone is transfixed by the show, Twilight sees Tempest in the back. She does show her a bit of acceptance, and Tempest shows her some fireworks. I just needed to get that in. Let's see, I covered that. Apparently, the Queen of the Hippos showed up, and as the first song switches out, as Rainbow kind of comes to an end, and the second song that's in the credits sort of picks up. I like that they brought in Vinyl. Vinyl is there doing her DJ thing, and we get a silhouette of we get the Discord silhouette. So that was he's in this technically. He's just not speaking.
Yeah, I like the note that, of course, why Discord actually didn't show up in the show was because well, he's Discord. He's pretty much the god. He could snap his fingers and the movie's over.
Exactly. It's the same thing as why they turned Celestia to stone and stuff. The princesses to stone. Yeah. Discord could have just, unstoned them and be like, bitch, please.
Although he better have an excuse for not showing up.
Yeah, I really, really, really hope so.
And
something is happening? Yeah, I was on vacation.
Yeah. I could just totally picture Fluttershy at their Tuesday tea afterwards. That was the most traumatic thing I've ever done. Where were you?
I just imagine him bringing back the Storm King. It's like, hey, buddy, we need to talk.
Well, what I think is with all the harnesses and that sort of thing in on the ponies, he would just go snap and they would all turn to gummy rope or something.
Yeah,
that would be a Discord way of freeing them. It's like these aren't very nice. These aren't fun. It would be fun. Gummy harnesses, and they just eat their way out of the harnesses.
Yeah,
that would be the Discord way of freeing them. But anyway.
So some other notes to make is so apparently Equestria is not everything.
Yeah.
This is a country.
Yeah, it's a country, but its rulers probably have a tremendous amount of influence considering they control the sun.
Yeah, also about that. So both Celestia and Luna were out of commission, right?
Hmm?
yet when they were going on their little journey, it still seemed to turn night and day.
Did it? It
It
stayed day all day, I think.
Yeah,
no, because it was nighttime when I forget her name. When Tempest went on the pirate ship, or maybe it was just like really, really, really cloudy.
It was probably cloudy because if you remember, Tempest Zeppelin brings clouds.
Yeah, it brings dark, ominous clouds.
It has storm clouds with it because remember at the beginning, Rainbow Dash, I asked for clear skies. Yeah. That wasn't us.
Yeah, so, yeah, and it's a plausible explanation why it was never night during the whole adventure. Yeah. It's like...
Because it didn't even seem really day so much as, not twilight, but just that haze. Like, you know that haze you get during a partial eclipse?
Yeah. Yeah. It just seemed really dark in a lot of places.
Well, I mean, there's also the lighting.
True.
Like, if you remember, Capper made it dark for some of those scenes by covering the roof.
But at any rate, that's the My Little Pony movie 2017.
And I just have to wait for 2018.
There's a movie in 2018 too?
I don't think so.
No, that'd be cool though.
It would be, but that took forever to make it.
Yeah, but the second movie was just going to be called My Little Discord. All about Discord. Nothing else.
Well, see, one thing that I will say that's good about this in terms of sequels is the way this is animated. It's animated by puppets. It's a puppet style of animation still. And once you've crafted those, as long as you don't mind having the same sort of look, and that's probably a good thing to have the consistency, you have everything already basically puppeted and made in the models and whatnot. Everything's already done. You just do it again. And you might have to model like Ponyville or something. You might have to model that, but you don't have the rigging, the initial rigging and making the puppets is already sort of, you've eaten a lot of that cost already. And so the next movie is going to be just locations. You could probably do a lot more with locations because you already have a lot of the characters already rigged up and puppeted. Now you can focus on getting new locations and that sort of thing. You got your water effects, you got all the stuff that you had to put in to get these effects right. The next one's going to be a lot easier because you don't have to go remake all these puppets and all this stuff like you did for this one. You had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was all right. Go ahead,
Jack. What did you think? You like it? Yep. Okay, what was your favorite part? Tempest? No. The pirates? No. Oh, I know. Grubber, right? The little thing with the cakes? No. Yeah, because it reminded you of Bunga?
Yeah, one thing I point about Tempest is, so I found Tempest to be a cool character. I did like her. But admittedly, I have a feeling that, before she existed, if anybody were to make, a pony OC with a broken horn and, as how she looked, it'd be like, oh, wow, such an edgy pony.
You mean sarcastically?
Yeah. You know how people like to complain about, oh, your pony has even the little bit of sad background story that's so edgy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think we're already run over time, and I think we've covered just about everything I can think of. What say you to calling that a scream?
Next week, part 2.
No.